Welcome to part 2 of scribing. I'm sure many of you have heard that there is math required when you are a scribe, and so I'm going to try to simplify that math as much as I can for you. So the performance score, the math is the same for any level that you are judging in the freestyle. The DoD score, which stands for degree of difficulty, is a score that appears in bronze and above. So for most classes, you will simply have to calculate the overall performance, and I'm going to show you how to do that. First, I'm going to show you the document here on my screen that is something that many judges will give their scribe that gives them an idea of what they're going to be writing for a freestyle, and then how to do the math or what math the judge wants you to do. There are some judges who don't want you to do the entire math, only part of it. Kind of what I do is I gauge your comfort level with math and then sort of spot check you as we're going, and if I feel comfortable and you seem to be comfortable, then I will let you do all of the math. Otherwise, normally what I have you do is just the first part of the math. So, again, when we talk about the performance of the freestyle, we're going to look down here. This is what would appear on the score sheet. So what we're talking about is individual freestyles. So it is a minute routine, and the average number of moves probably for any level is 10 to 15. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this out as if I were judging a routine, so you can see how you're going to be writing it on the sheet as the routine goes along. So the routine starts, the vaulter mounts, and I say D2, M, no deduction, which is why there is no little number right here. That is always the deduction. M3, 3 by itself. What that means is there's a bobble of some sort or a slow spot, so I'm taking a deduction here, but it did not have a move that it is associated with. M5, E3, put a line through the E. What that means is they did an exercise that wasn't easy, but they did not hold it the required 3 strides. So what happens is there is a deduction associated with it here, this 3, and then we put a line through the move because we're not going to count that move because it was not held. D3, R3, a 3 by itself. D, no deduction. D1, M3, put a line through the M. FA 1.0 and circle it. Any deduction that ends up being circled is an after-the-fact deduction, as I call them, and we will get to that when we talk about calculating the performance score. D5, M, no deduction. E2, R4, FA 0.5, and circle it. Okay, so that would be the 1-minute routine that we just watched. Now, let's talk about the elements of math that need to be done in this case. I find it's easier for people to do math if they conceptually understand why they're doing math. So when we talk about the division, because what we do is we divide total deductions by total moves is the math that we're going to do. So it's always easiest to get the bottom, the smaller number first. That is simply the total moves that were held. So in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to skip this one because it wasn't held. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, which gets us our bottom number, total moves. Okay? The top number, which is almost always the bigger number, is the total of non-circled deductions. So what it is it's these little numbers on the bottom. Different scribes have ways that, some scribes will put 5 moves in a row and then go down below because it's easier for them to get math looking at a smaller amount of moves. For me, I always just look for increments of 5. So I've got 5, then I've got 10, now I'm at 19, 22, 25. That's how I do it. You can use the calculator to add up all of these small numbers, whatever is the most efficient for you. So the truth is all of these small numbers total 40. So again, 40 is the total number of non-circle deductions. We haven't done anything with this 1.0 or 0.5 yet. So to come to our performance score, what we do is we take 40 divided by 12 on a small calculator, and then we're going to minus 10, which gives us our performance score. In this case, that 40 divided by 12 is 3.33. We minus the 10, and we get 6.6666, whatever. Most judges are going to round up. You know, I always have a conversation with your judge to say, do you want to round up? Do you want to round down? Do you want me to ask you before I do one or the other? But in this case, I just round up. So 3.33 minus 10 equals 6.67 for our performance score. Now, this is where I take these after-the-fact deductions, this full point and this half point. So 6.67 minus 1.5 then brings me to a final performance score of 5.1. So again, the performance math, I think, is pretty easy once you understand what pieces and parts go where. The next thing we're going to talk about is the degree of difficulty score. So many judges would like for you to calculate the degree of difficulty for them. For me personally, what I like is I just like you to write the numbers of each of the levels of difficulty down for me, and I will personally calculate the score, although I know there are many other judges who, if you want to calculate the score for them, are totally fine with that. So the first thing that you have to do for degree of difficulty is to understand that there are 4 levels of move. R for risk, D for difficult, M for medium, and E for easy. Each level has a different mathematical value, although for individuals, it does not change. It's the same across the board, same for team and pas de deux. So this is always the same amount. One risk in individual is worth 1.3. And we'll talk about the other values as well. But the value of R never changes. The piece of the mathematical equation that changes is how many there are. So again, we know we had 12 moves in this routine, and so here they are broken out in the degree of difficulty chart. So I'm actually going to scroll down a little bit because I'm going to show you what the values are. We are going to assume that this is a silver freestyle, which in that case, only the top 10 degree of difficulty moves will count towards that score, and easy moves do not count towards this score in silver and above. So in this particular case, what we're going to use for our math is the top 10 moves. Okay, so this competitor did 2 R's times 1.3 is the value of an R, 2.6. They did 5 D's times 0.9, 4.5 is what they'll get credit for there. And so now, since we have a total of 7 moves here, I can only count 3 of the M's to get me to that top 10 move. So M's are worth 0.4. I'm going to count 3 of them. I'm going to do 1.2 for the M's. The total score for this vaulter for degree of difficulty is 8.3. Again, the degree of difficulty score is straight, flat math. There's no how I feel about it, how, whatever. The math is what the math is. So those are the 2 pieces of math that you will be asked to do as a scribe. The nice thing is, normally we start with compulsories, and so you get some comfort level prior to having to do the freestyles. If this were a freestyle below bronze, most judges will not use these letters. They will just use X for exercise, but the rest of this would look the same. X2, X no deduction, X3. It's just easier not to call out the D, M's, and E's. It's one fewer thing for the judge to be thinking about as they're trying to come up with a performance score for each move. Now, some judges always call DOD. I know I personally, if I don't have to, I just call it an exercise. Again, if you have any questions regarding the math required for scribing, I can be reached at thejudgescorner@gmail.com. Thank you.